What's up, America? It's your favorite paisan, Johnny D. You know, every week Karen and I hit the streets going out and talking to you, Americans, about what's on your mind. This week we got lucky in the streets of New York. Mike Baker just caught up with us for a few minutes. He's in town to talk about his new book, Company Rules. Mike, thanks for giving us a few minutes for the Wise Guy show.
I appreciate you, man.
So, Company Rules, you spent couple decades, over 20 years in the CIA.
This is the first time I've ever come out with a book. It's an audio book, so it's an easy read. People can plug it in and listen to it on a road trip. But the idea is there's 9 main company rules that I took away, right? Other people from the agency probably take their own rules. And I came up with 9 because I couldn't think of a 10th. So, but there's just basic principles, right? Things like define your mission. Before you can start a business, you have to define your mission, and it's more than just making money, right? And how to make decisions with imperfect information is another one, right? How do you get off the X, which in operational terms means the ambush site, right? But in business, it's just how do you make a decision before your competition does? And you have to be able to do that accepting a certain amount of risk.
So I do want to take you a little down your intelligence path. This week on Wise Guys, we're talking about the unending, the magic printing press of top secret documents that are coming out now.
Yeah, I brought you some, by the way.
You have some too? Yeah. Sure, I got everything in this jacket. But no, it seems to me that this is the deep state burning Joe Biden. And that's like a spook term, right? They're burning him. They found out about the first documents on November 2nd. Have you ever seen a case with a high-profile person where it was not even reported for a month and a half later?
Yeah, it's why is it released now? It's why are they just constantly dripping it out? It's why did they not say something prior to the election? And again, it comes down to perception. As far as the general public goes, you could ask anybody on the street, right? They're not going to get into the nuances of it all, right? No. Between Trump and Biden. They're going to say they both did the same damn thing.
The Republican House is now talking about, forming a committee to investigate Anthony Fauci and the origins of the China virus. Is that too much? Like, should they be looking maybe to go forward, or does it deserve an investigation in your view?
As far as China goes, yeah. Look, I can't spend enough time kicking the Chinese regime, Xi and his regime in the ass, right? I would spend 24 hours a day doing that because that's how much damage they've done over the years and continue to do to this country and to our national security. And when you talk about an investigation, it would seem to me that given the extent of the pandemic and what it put the world through, that people would want some transparency in terms of their culpability in all of this. And it also makes sense to go after them in terms of their theft of economic intelligence, trade secrets, the things that they're doing to damage this country. And you can't quantify the cost. It's in the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars.
But I think, personally, that the Chinese regime, the CCP, is the greatest threat to America on so many fronts, militarily, intellectually, economically. What can we do to raise that, Mike? That's to me. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Look, there's no doubt about it. Xi has locked himself into a position of leadership, like we haven't seen since Chairman Mao, maybe Deng Xiaoping. But he's there for good. He's strengthened the Ministry of State Security. There is no real rule of law there. He's squashed any democratic hopes in Hong Kong. While we were all looking this way at something else, he was doing that. The Uyghur issue, in terms of human rights abuses. But then on top of all of that is, again, this idea that for decades, the way that the communist regime decided they were going to get to the top of the food chain, which is where they want to be, is by bypassing research and development, the heavy costs of all of that, by hoovering up intellectual property, by stealing information from around the world in a variety of different ways. They're very good at it. They play the long game. We all have attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, right.
So but they look way down the road. And so, yes, they are our biggest threat to national security, not just the short or midterm, but the long term.
I agree with you. Tell America something about Mike Baker that they don't know. A hobby, a pet.
I like long walks on the beach, quiet nights at home, a glass of Chardonnay. No, I don't like anything.
That sounds like your Tinder page.
Well,
listen, I see we got to get you into an official sit-down over at Sparks one day and
I would love
kick around some stuff or a table, but I really appreciate you giving us a few minutes here out in the street, taking time out of the book tour, but thank you so much.
No,
Keep up the
John.
great work.
Thank
you for your service. And you guys stay right there. Although I'm in New York, Kara's in D.C. Let's see who she's talking to.
I'm here in Washington, D.C. I'm going to talk to some of these great Americans and find out what they're thinking. Tell me why you think it's a good idea to investigate China and the CCP.
There's a lot, that the CCP is doing around the world, but I think for Americans, I think we need to get to the bottom of his tie to Hunter Biden and even to our president.
The new Republican House announced that they are going to start a committee to investigate the weaponization of the government. What is the first thing that you think that they should investigate?
I believe the weaponization of the FBI, most importantly. I have sat through a lot of Jan 6 cases, and the infiltration of the American people by the FBI is significant, and that needs to be investigated.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.